Ah, did you see that game yesterday? Brooklyn. Mm, 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 mm. This is one time will say that I was so wrong about that team. One time I will say I was so wrong about the Brooklyn Nets, man. Mm, I will admit it right here firsthand. Did y'all watch that game yesterday? Oh, and right now, uh, I will say they're not giving Kevin Durant the same smoke that they're giving LeBron James. Now, did you see LeBron James out there celebrating on vacation? I see Stephen A. Smith talking about that. I see Skip Bayless obviously like saying that's poor form. You out there celebrating, putting it on the ground while everybody's busting their butt in the playoffs. But anyway, oh man, I sat there and invested in these Brooklyn Nets, man. Oh man, whose fault is it? Whose fault is it why Brooklyn sucks? I saw this coming. I saw this coming for a while, but when you listen to the media, they always say LeBron James is not the greatest anymore. They say Kevin Durant is the greatest player at this time. And some people fall for it though. Not me. Not me. I didn't never fell for the banana in the tailpipe. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, but he's not the best. I believe that Giannis is the best right now. I believe that. I believe Giannis is the best at this point. I love the way Milwaukee came out and they grew organically. I like that. I like Golden State because they were all drafted to the team. I like the system. See, the problem is you cannot allow the inmates to run the asylum. You can't. I want to talk about that. Also, I want to talk about the winning time episodes on HBO. Have you been watching? Now, I've been watching a little bit. I didn't catch the last three seasons. I did not. I mean, excuse me, last three episodes. I didn't catch it, but I am highly entertained. If you ever watched that, let me know what you think about the episodes. I didn't even pull that up there, but yeah, I wanted to kind of run by that as well. But whose fault is it the Brooklyn Nets lost? Now, I was riding with Kyrie Irving. I like his stance that he took. And a lot of people want to put blame on him. A lot of people want to put blame on him because he didn't play all the games this year. The nucleus only played 21 games together. That's all they played. And if you look at the last game, you can't put it all on Kevin Durant in this one. But a lot of people want to put the blame on Kyrie Irving for being wishy washy when it comes down to it. Actually, he put blame on himself in the press conference. Did you check that out? A lot of people want to put blame on Steve Nash. They said he did not coach. They said he did horrible when it comes to making adjustments. But it's inevitable because stats do not lie. Numbers do not lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And if we look at the numbers over the season, the numbers they are right where they're supposed to be. So we got to put some smoke on Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant created this team, this super team, if you will, that I've been driving home for the last couple years when LeBron created this super team. But this rant is not about him; it's about Kevin. I'm actually going to give LeBron a little credit because when he created his first super team, he uh he got to the finals. So I can't give LeBron the smoke today, but he will get it in the future. But he can't get it today because when he created the super team, he got to the finals. Now this team right here, Vegas had him going to the finals. The whole media had this Brooklyn team going to the finals. Now, or we could stop and say, well, this wasn't the team that they said it was going to go to the finals because after all, Harden left. James Harden left the team, and this is the team that was supposed to make it. This was the big three. And Kevin Hart basically, I mean, I say Kevin Hart, but Harden, James Harden, he was like, I'm not going to have this. If Kevin, if we're not going to buy in and play, and you're not going to take the, you know what, and you're going to sit out this whole season, then I'm not going to sit there and play. And it's going to be Houston 2.0. And one criticism that I have about Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant is not a leader. He is a mama's boy. After the game, did you see his mom kissing him like, "Oh, baby, it's gonna be okay"? See, that's the problem with when women is running men. And I'm not gonna make this a rant about that, but I will say this: women typically um, try to protect their son from getting hurt. That's what they do. They protect them from getting hurt. And this whole time, you have to ask yourself, who was the person who made these decisions or allowed him to make these decisions for him? Can you imagine in football, right? If this was football, who would make these dumb decisions? Who would allow you to make these dumb decisions if you're playing for a franchise team who's winning all these games and everything's happening for you, and then you decide to leave? Someone's gonna say, no, 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 no. I think you should sit your butt down. The biggest mistake that was made. Look at this guy crying all the time, right? Right now, as we speak, he's on social media, going after people on social media because he's hurt. He said, "No, you're not going to talk about my decision to leave the arguably the greatest team that was ever assembled, Golden State." This is his mama protecting him, though. Oh Lord, mama, oh mama, she had butter biscuits waiting for him after the game. She gave him a big hug and a kiss. She gave him a big hug and a kiss. And what you should have did was you should have stayed on this team if you wanted to be protected. But since you wanted to make your own super team, this is what you get. So all the blame is going on you to me. You can't blame Kyrie Irving for the decisions that he made when it comes to not doing something for his health. You can't blame him for that. That's that's propaganda, if you will, because and this is why you can't blame Kyrie for it because it didn't make sense. The law didn't make sense. They said basically if you didn't take the Cody, if you will, you can't play in New York. However, the people who come over and play and they don't live in New York, they can play if they didn't take the Cody. So it's not Kyrie's fault that he didn't have chemistry with the Boston, I mean with Brooklyn Nets. It's not his fault. It is Kevin Durant's fault. Kevin never wanted to be the leader. You know who the leader is? His leader is this woman right here, his mama. She's the one who's trying to protect this young, older man from ridicule. She can't have her baby hurt. This is what I say. Women protecting these boys. Stay away. Everybody complained when Lonzo Ball's father was out here trying to protect his boys. He said, "You need to let him grow up." Well, this is what I would say to Kevin Durant's mother: let him grow up. Let Kevin Durant deal with the ridicule. But nobody's ridiculing him. They're giving all these excuses. We live in a country right now of excuses. Did you see what's going on with Twitter? Elon Musk. Everybody's saying that they want to. They're scared of what's going to happen because they don't want the freedom of speech, and we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how he's going to be, how he's going to run Twitter, but America like to block people who have can ridicule somebody. Freedom of expression. They want to censor you, and this is the woman who tried to fight all Kevin's battles. This is all his fault. He hired the coach. He's the one that said in an interview when they built this team that we don't need a coach. Obviously, it looked like you needed a coach today. It really did. Looked like y'all needed a coach because y'all didn't make any adjustments. You should have stayed in Golden State if you didn't want to smoke. And the question is, can they become better? Now, the East is not what it used to be when LeBron was playing in the East. And by the way, LeBron dominated everybody in the East. He was he was Thanos on the East. LeBron James for years. He beat Boston. He shut them down. He shut down Toronto and DeRozan. Nobody and Giannis. He got Giannis. Now, granted, Giannis was coming up, and that's why I say you in sports you have to get better by growing, losing. Like one thing that Shaq said that that Michael Jordan told him after he was getting swept so much, he's like, in order for you to win, you got to lose a lot. But in this society, you're not allowed to lose. Not when you create a team like this. When you create a team, you're supposed to win right now because that's what the goal is. Because usually when you create a team, you only got a 4-year window. Look at LeBron James and his career because LeBron he don't do 4 year, he do 3 years, and that's why his teams usually fold after 4 years because there's no certainty if the captain's going to be there. When LeBron plays, he does a 3-year contract, and then after that, he gets all these players. He gets all these old players because they want to play with these young players, right? And then they explode after the 4th year. And once he leaves, he looks like the hero because he got them to the finals. They lost. He lost what 6 times. And when he leaves, he destroys the team because they have no draft picks. This is why the owners be so upset at him because they gave him power. And one thing about the owners and the GM's gonna get the blame for giving this guy power. Ain't that a shame? But when they were in Cleveland and they were saying that LeBron wasn't getting players, so he left. I agree with him. This is what people say in the streets. But when he went to Miami and he went to Cleveland the second time and then he went to the Lakers, the GMs gave him free range to do what he wanted to do. It was a smart move on his part. He created Clutch Sports, which his players on Clutch Sports, Rich Pauls, are the worst in the league right now. You have AD who didn't play his last couple games or last season and said he wanted out. Who's telling them this? Is his agent? I think John Wall's on there. He ain't playing 2 or 3 years, getting free money. Everybody on Clutch Sports, they're going to mess with Clutch Sports. Trust me, man. They're coming for y'all. Do you have Ben Simmons who didn't play, who's acting like a punk? You getting paid all this money. You ran from LSU. You ain't played your last season, and y'all didn't even make the tournament. Do y'all remember that LSU did not make the tournament? LSU did not make the tournament, and everybody praised him like, oh, he got to get ready for the NBA. Then Ben Simmons ran out on Philly. You can't run out on Philly, man. They don't play that. And you ran out on Philly in the playoffs. You didn't shoot. So now we're here. And they said you was gonna come back for game 4. That would have been epic if he did. But he didn't come back on game 4. I knew he wasn't gonna come back because why would he? He's already a punk and he's scared of criticism, light skinned brother. He didn't come back, so why would he come back on this playoffs? He's scared, so he lied about a back injury because he's a punk. He's a punk, and feel sorry for. I mean, I don't feel sorry for them. They should have never made that trade just because Harden wanted to leave. You should have kept Harden there, and you should have sat him down. And Kevin Durant should have talked to him as a leader, but he's not a leader. Everything he says is, "I just want to play basketball," and then he goes behind and goes on social media. He goes to social media and hide behind his words and start talking stuff on other people who's talking about him. Wow, this he is not a leader. He is not what I thought he was. Everybody said, "Oh, he's the best." This, he's the no, he's a good player, one of the best, but he's definitely nowhere near LeBron James. He's always going to be number 2 in his book, in my book, and right now he's going down, down, down. He plays so many minutes because this is what you created. This is crazy how this season is flipped upside down because teams they said they was going to win is losing. And teams that said and that was supposed to lose are winning. Brother played 47 minutes, man. Look, if you look at the other team, um, if you look at the teams that were playing, like Boston, they were such an even kill team. No one played 40 minutes on that team. They played as a team because they've been playing and gelling since January. But the media, all they wanted to talk about was LeBron James, and they want to talk about Kevin Durant, and they want to talk about Kyrie because they're trying to get people to take the Cody, and it didn't work. But we didn't see Boston. Like Boston was balling all year long. They were top defense all year. They're well coached. They're well coached. You the problem the difference between Steve Nash, which never never paid his dues, and the coach that they have for Boston is dues. You got to pay your dues. You cannot just think you have a position and you can have the position and you can do the position. That's why doctors take 10 years to be a doctor. Yeah, you get the white coat, but you got to put in that work, right? Teachers, they're not created equal, right? You have to go through the work. And he hasn't. He just he knew somebody, you know? He knew somebody to get in there. He don't have any experience. He didn't know what he was doing in this. Okay, that's why I said like everybody want to say, "Oh, well, he's a player." This shows you right here. He's a player. Steve Nash played basketball all these years, right? Was one of the best. I think he's a Hall of Famer, I believe. And oh, 1 second. He's a Hall of Famer, but yet he gets out coached by a player who really didn't play basketball. He didn't really play. He wasn't a superstar. I don't even know if he did play basketball, but if you look at the resumes of the coaches, right? The guy, what I heard, he played his position. You know, he played his position. He played. Let's look at the career of the coach for. Okay, I think he did play basketball. I'm looking, but he wasn't a superstar. But he put in work. Like he was assistant for one of the greatest coaches ever, the Spurs. Then he coached from Philly. Then he was, I mean, assistant coach in Philly, and then he was assistant coach in Brooklyn. Actually, last year, so he knew all about Brooklyn. But hey, they wanted Steve Nash. You know, sometimes when the person picks someone, it's because they want to run the asylum. That's what happens when you decide who you want to run the asylum. That's what happens. Now back to this game. Back to the game. If you look at the stats here, now the game was close. 116, 112. And it wasn't, they didn't lose the last game because of Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant got 39 points. He was balling early. He had 18 points in the second half, I believe. He didn't shoot well from three because he was forcing a lot of shots. But he went 90% from the free throw line. The reason why they lost, folks, was Nick Clayton, this brother right here. They're the reason why they lost. This dude went to the free throw line and he missed 10 free throws. He went 0 for 10. He actually broke Shaq's record in this game. Right here. He broke his record. He made one free throw. He was .091 from the free throw line, and he had played 23 minutes, man. On defense, they didn't play any defense, and Kevin Durant was exhausted. So this is the coaching of Steve Nash. He played his best players 46 minutes, 44 minutes, and 37 minutes. Seth Curry, which is what he scored 23 points in the game. He was 5 for 9 at 3. He was hitting a lot of key shots. And at the end of the game, Blake Griffin played 17 minutes. I don't understand why you have these old players on. You got Dragic is only getting 23 minutes. He had 10 points. And I don't know why you have LaMarcus Aldridge on here. Is he hurt? Must be hurt. Um, Andre Drummond only had 3 minutes, and nobody could watch Jason Tatum. Nobody on the team. He's like dominating people. He was. I remember. He was on the corner, and they gave him the ball. They had some tall dude, slow dude. He just went left and went by him and went to the hole. There's something to watch, man. I'm looking forward to seeing them play. It's going to be a fight, man. They're going to play Milwaukee next, man. Giannis versus Jason Tatum. Get your popcorn on that one. I am looking forward to that matchup. But Jalen Brown and Marcus Smart playing defense, and Horford, which Al Horford, people don't understand. That dude been in the league for a while, and he lost a lot. He got swept a lot by LeBron James. By LeBron. Now, a lot of people want to talk about this sweep, like, oh, he's got swept. Um, and I wanna put up this thing before um, of players getting swept, right? Let me pull it up here, but this is not an uncommon situation with these super teams and these huge players getting swept. And I'm gonna pull it up here. Hit a one in the comments if you can see it. If you can see this, let me pull it up a little closer. See if I can get it closer. All right, but look at this, man. LeBron James, he was a star. He got swept twice. He got swept to 2017-18 against the Warriors. Couldn't win a game. Nobody said nothing. They was like he's supposed to lose. When he got swept to the Spurs, he was supposed to lose. LeBron was getting 29, 28 points game, 7 and 8, and he couldn't will the team to win one game. Michael Jordan, we all know Michael Jordan. He got swept twice in his career against Chicago, 1985-86, 03, when he infamously shouts out to him.
I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we talking about practice,
He
not a
didn't practice
game,
at
not a
all.
game, not a game. We talking about practice.
He came in there and scored 63 points after being out the whole year with a broken ankle. 63 points, but they ended up losing in overtime. And he went 0-3 twice against one of the greatest teams. Like it says, Michael is considered the greatest of all time by many NBA fans with the iconic 6-0 final record, playoff average 33 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. I mean, 6 rebounds and 2 steals. Legendary. Even the greatest have been swept. So he got swept against Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, and they had 2 other superstars. They had Bill Walton, which is a Hall of Famer, and they had the point guard. I forgot his name off the top of my head, and they ended up losing. Now, a lot of people don't know that I was wanting to talk about. I might have to talk about it another time. But winning time, Michael Magic Johnson went to the finals. He went to the finals like 9 times in the '80s and and lost like four. I think he lost 4 times, won 5. Great, great, isn't it? But I remember watching this. 1982 got swept. Remember watching the videos of this? To the 76ers team was really good, 0-4. They didn't win a game. In '89, when Pistons took the league over, got swept. A couple times they called Magic Tragic Johnson, but these young kids will not know that. But they called him Tragic Johnson in 1984 because he choked in the championship game against Boston. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was not as good as people think you are. See, when you win, just remember this: when you win, you get to tell the story. You win, you get to tell the story. But here's the thing: Kareem wasn't that great in the '80s. He was averaging like 14 points a game. His average was way higher, like 20 something, 28 a game. He went down to 14. He couldn't play defense. He was slow. He wasn't running with the team because they wanted them to run, and he would not run because he was old. And they kept him on the team longer than he should have, but they got swept by Julius Erving, Moses Malone, and a lot of other players that was on that team. Tim Duncan, one of the greatest of all time. We don't talk about this either, but he got swept against the Lakers 2021 team. Lakers 2021. I mean, 2000 or '01 team was one of the best that ever assembled with Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and he got swept. And then in 2009, 2010, he gets swept again, and that was a team with Steve Nash. So this is not uncommon. Larry Bird. They don't talk about this. The people who win get to tell the story. He got swept by the Bucks. 82, 83. The Bucks never did nothing back in the day. They were a good team, but they never did anything. And then they got swept by the Pistons when the Pistons was just beating on everybody. Bad boy Pistons. Shout out to the Pistons right there. Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bean he was swept a few times, but they will never discuss this. This gets swept in the archives. It's kind of like with Michael Jordan in the Wizards. We don't remember that because the person who win get to tell the story. He got swept in 1997, 1998. Do you remember when he shot those 4 air balls in a row? Kobe. The next year, you get swept again. And the Spurs end up winning the championship that year. And then in 2010, 2010 and 11, got swept again. It's nothing new, but the one guy, give him a round of applause. Shaquille O'Neal, one of the greatest basketball players that ever played the game. Most people say he's the most dominant player that ever played this game. They said he just you couldn't be stop him in those 3 years. Had one of the sickest dunks when he dunked on David Robinson. He got swept the most in 19 years. The most. But they'll never talk about it. He got swept 1993-94 against the Pacers. 03. The next year, he gets swept by the Rockets in the finals. He gets swept again the following year against the Bulls. This is becoming a theme, folks. Every year he was getting swept. 97, he got swept by the Jazz. 98, he got swept by the Spurs. Shaquille O'Neal, man, this is ridiculous. And then in 2006 and 2007, he got swept by the Bulls again. I don't even know who was on that team. So it's not uncommon. But one thing I will say is this is the time of healing. I'm trying to get my Jada Pickett on. This is the time of healing. Okay. Kevin Durant, he's old now. I don't know exactly how old he is right now. I know he's in his 30s. He's part of the crew. He got drafted in '07, so he's an older guy. And I don't believe he's going to get in that weight room. But they were throwing him around like a rag doll, and I loved it. The team didn't play. They only played 21 games together. So I don't think they're going to get too much better because Simmons is not a leader. They don't have a leader on the team. They don't have good role players that can play defense. I just don't see it. And I don't know if they're going to stay together as long enough to go through the fire and win. See, that was his problem. He ran when his team was doing good over in OKC. It takes time to become a good team, like Golden State. The Golden State used to lose a lot when they was coming up. They lost to so many games, close games, and they had to get over the hump together because Draymond Green and Steph Curry and Thompson played together for years, and they lost together. They cried together. That's what you have to do. You have to cry together, and you come up. You don't cry together and then you leave, or you don't win one time and then say, "Oh, I do my own thing." See, these people are shortcutting the system, and you can't shortcut the system because you're going to get cut short. And this is what's going on with him. He's mid 30s. He's almost done. He's starting to get hurt a lot too. His body can't take the pounding. He's not 20 anymore. And Kyrie Irving, shame on him because he wasn't even shooting like he's supposed to do. He was timid with his shots. And he was shooting bad shots. I went to see him play this year. He was shooting bad shots. He wasn't playing right with confidence. He's not a great point guard. Now, I think they will do better if they allow Kevin not to push the ball up and allow Ben to push the ball up. But don't shoot the messenger because Kevin don't want to coach. Only person can tell him what to do is his mama.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice.
And you know how strong he is. You can't win.
And with that being said, tell me in the comments what y'all think about Kevin Durant's team, and are they going to get anywhere this year or next year, or this is one and done? Because the East looking really strong right now. I like the way the NBA is going right now. These young players, they playing, they butt off. You got John Morant, you got Jokic over there, you got Giannis, who's the best in the league right now. And I like what Milwaukee is doing in a small market town. People who won't want to go to small markets. I like Giannis, man. Giannis is a outsider. Nobody wanted to deal with him. He remind me of Kevin. He remind me of Kobe Bryant. Like Kobe at the end of his career, he was loved, but not in the beginning because he didn't. He came from Pitt. I mean, I don't want to say Pittsburgh. He came from overseas. He didn't know how to speak the language too much, like the jargon. He didn't fit in as well over here. That's what I liked about him. He was a loner when he went to the team. All he wanted to do was play the game. And He wanted to be better than people. That's the same thing that Giannis did. Giannis came from overseas. He worked his butt off. People was saying he couldn't shoot. He worked on that, and he's a team player. He- I love it. But anyway, I'm gonna leave you with that. Um, I might go on later live tonight. We'll see. But you guys have a good rest of the day.